HCI is a discipline full of differences, different researcher backgrounds and orientations, methods, and ideas of what technology should look like. We conducted a diffractive reading, a concept introduced by physicist feminist Karen Barad, as a way to understand how differences materialize and matter within HCI. Our approach involved 3 separate analyses of data from a single design workshop, followed by a diffractive reading of that set of analysis. This image shows participants broken up into smaller groups at 5 different tables, which they stayed in for the duration of the workshop, along with undergraduate members of the research team who supported them in activities and took notes. The 2-hour and 45-minute workshops involved a series of presentations and group work. Group work involved engaging with Internet of Things technology toolkit cards, prototyping with an electronic toolkit, and then engaging in a prototyping activity with design materials. A different researcher took the primary lead for each analysis. Researchers worked with the methods or orientation that best reflected their typical approach to research. The first analysis was conducted by Siek. She did an analysis in accordance with the norms of the subcommunity in HCI that studies Internet of Things technology for the home. 2 themes emerged from her analysis. First, that there was an interest in supporting awareness of and automating home tasks. And second, that participants were really interested in connecting remotely using IoT technologies. Across these 2 themes, we find that the progression of activities, starting with a broad overview of IoT and then interacting directly with electronics, led participants to refine their understanding of IoT. I'm giving a sort of microcosm of the paper here, just going through one theme to build an example of the diffractive analysis. We saw how participants' ideas increased in complexity over the course of the workshop. By the end of the session, their ideas expanded to macro-level contextually aware systems, requiring information from multiple sensors throughout a space. As one example, participants at table B commiserated over the burden of putting up holiday lights each year, only to remove them shortly after, and they prototyped a fairly complex system that could automate some of this work. Now, analysis 2, conducted by Jelen. Here, the focus is on the target group, older adults, and the researcher analyzed this data in accordance with the norms of the subcommunity in HCI that studies aging in place and technologies for aging. The themes that emerged here were that older adults were really interested in IoT for reminders and IoT for safety. Seasonal decorating emerged as a risky task that spurred designs at several tables. One participant revealed that they had left their holiday lights up for 3 consecutive years, and another was interested in this idea because his grandson, who usually helps him decorate, isn't coming home this year for Christmas. The final design was a bookcase that housed a fully decorated Christmas tree on a Roomba-style robot that rolled outside. Also based on his experience with seasonal decorations, another participant was motivated to create a design similar to a life alert button to notify loved ones if his wife fell and hurt herself in their home. His motivation for this design was because of his past experiencing falling over 7.5 meters or 25 feet while hanging Christmas lights. Together, these anecdotes shared by participants and the resulting systems that they designed indicate an opportunity for researchers to look into automating or assisting seemingly mundane household tasks, which may actually be dangerous or difficult for older adults. Analysis 3 takes a critical, process-oriented approach to analyze the dynamics of older adult engagement in IoT workshops. This analysis was led by myself and Alisha Pradhan. As the analysis process progressed, we began to focus on the dynamics of participation, the ways that participants responded to prompts and directives, and we ended up finding mismatches between researcher and attendee expectations. Further, participants subverted what it meant to be a good participant during these design workshops in 2 ways: by going through the motions and by having a good time. Participants resisted the role of being a good participant by doing the bare minimum needed for an activity, and they found shortcuts to reduce their efforts. For example, in a low-fidelity prototyping activity, one participant managed to get an undergraduate student to do the work of cutting a bush for a Christmas tree light system by asking them, "If you were me, how would you make a green bush?" As the undergraduate student responded by cutting the bush out, the participant said, "You can do it for me, you know. You are doing a good job." In this mode of participation, the measure of when an activity was done was whether an individual had done enough to satisfy researchers, not whether they had put together a design that reflected their actual preferences. The next stage of our approach was to engage in a diffractive reading of the 3 sets of analyses. Diffractive approaches study difference, and we did so by iteratively revisiting our 3 analyses to understand where distinctions and boundaries existed. We created memos while reading findings through one another. In some cases, we had insights about the meaning of differences when we examined data that was included in one analysis and excluded another. In other cases was when our analysis centered around ways that the same data was brought into different analyses but took on different meanings. Here, I'm going to revisit the differences between the ways that holiday decorations appear in our data. In analysis 1, a holiday decorating robot was evidence that participants deepened their thinking about IoT from micro to macro thinking because of our workshop activities. In analysis 2, holiday decorations meant something different. They signal a need for care, the poignancy of a house with lights left up for 3 years in a row, a grandson neglecting their annual holiday visit, and the risk of a 25-foot fall for an elderly individual. In analysis 3, the significance of the holiday decorations is in the way that participants found a way to put minimal effort into the activity by convincing a young research assistant to do the work for them. If we don't take a diffractive reading approach, we can find new insights which fit within existing ways of doing research in different subdisciplines within HCI. Analysis 1, improving the ways in which we conduct user-centered design. Analysis 2, identifying an important area for older adults' well-being, these mundane activities that create risk but are rarely discussed in the body of aging HCI literature. And analysis 3 helps us further understand participation in design research and question our assumption that participants are always revealing their genuine thoughts in user-centered design. Reading one analysis through another, however, as we did through our diffractive reading, can help make what is at stake in different interpretations clear. When insights related to holiday decorations from analysis 2 are read through findings from analysis 3, which raise the prospect of older adult resistance, we might pause at casting mundane daily activities as an additional criteria to monitor and view through the lens of aging in place. The point here is not that reading insights through one another, as we did here, should prevent researchers from studying, for example, the topic of mundane activities for aging, but that this approach can raise some practical or ethical considerations that may impact a research agenda down the line and are difficult to realize from a single analysis or even triangulating methods. If analysis 3 was the only analysis reported from our data, our takeaway might be that none of the ideas that participants shared reflected actual needs. But this was not the case. One participant's desire to check on his wife if she became injured is one memorable example. So we argued that probing the places in different analyses that do not sit easily together can help our research stay closer to what is truthful to and can better serve the populations we study.